quickly, as we begin to wrap up now, the challenge that terrorism poses to our democracy, very quickly, if you were to look at it, Issa, what do you say would be the future of our democracy if we don't deal with this now, and what's the way forward?
I think the Hills. The DIG then, DIG Operation Mike Okiro, relocated to Borno, I remember very well. There was a military deployment, so many, what do you call it, policemen were there. They dislodged the Boko Haram. Some crossed over to Cameroon. The Cameroonian gendarmes got some of them. Nothing was heard again of the Boko Haram until 2007. They appeared in Kano, somewhere called Penshekara. They attacked the police station there. They had some fracas. Again, they went underground until 2009, when Mohammed Yusuf researched with the group and all that. That was when we had the major attack of the Boko Haram, which started on 26th of July 2009 in Bauchi. After the attack in Bauchi in the morning, that name Boko Haram actually came from Bauchi. In Borno, we call them Yusufia. That's named after Mohammed Yusuf. In Bauchi, they call them Boko Haram. So after the attack in Bauchi, the media, the following day, reported them as Boko Haram. On the night of that 26th of July, they launched serial attack in Maiduguri. But because the leader of the sect had his base in Maiduguri, some of them relocated to Maiduguri in an attempt to fight what they termed as holy war, to support their leader. Borno became the focus. Now, the major attack of the Boko Haram in 2009 was under a northern president. You see, the problem is this. So long as there is misunderstanding of the crisis, you can handily solve it. If a president, for instance, sees Boko Haram as a creation to fight him, he is likely to transmit whatever he feels to the security chiefs. For instance, the Chief of Defense Staff. The Chief of Defense Staff would also transmit it, to the ground people, whether the GOC or what have you at the state level. The GOC will transmit the same perception to the sector commanders or platoon or whatever commanders that you have. The same thing would get to the ground soldiers, and you begin to have problems. You discover that the accused, the victim becomes the accused. If I have my way, believe me, I would want a national summit on understanding the Boko Haram. Because so long as there is no clear understanding of this crisis, you can't solve it.
Okay, so we've got to wrap up. Final words from you, Oscar.
May I just quickly ask?
Okay, very quickly.
Are you optimistic about the return of the girls?
Very optimistic.
How optimistic are you?
Very optimistic, like I said. In my opinion, there are things one cannot, discuss off air because it will amount to like revealing some strategies which shouldn't be. But I'm very optimistic. The fact that the Boko Haram hasn't killed them yet, I think they are using them as a bargaining chip. I don't think they want to kill them when you understand the mindset, because for now, that's the only thing they are holding on to. I think we should deploy both a political and possibly a military approach. But the most important thing now is let's get the girls.
So you say
whatever kind of negotiation that we might need to do. If we don't have negotiators, there are lots of negotiators around the world. People who are very good. Israel negotiated with Hamas, to release one Israeli soldier, and they gave out 1,000 soldiers. I'm not saying that that Boko Haram, we should just give into Boko Haram, but let's get the girls. After getting the girls, then we should know what next to do.
You have recommended both political
yes,
and
military solution.
solutions.
Yeah. And of course, economic, like I've always said in the past.
Okay, the future of our democracy as a way of rounding up. How do you see it, and what should we be doing?
What we should be doing, education, education, and education.
Read my lips, pretty much.
You got it.
Education, education, education.
And that's just it. There's no other thing that is derailing us other than lack of knowledge. We continue to feel pain, and people will continue to thrive on the inadequacies of others. It's as simple as is nature. Let's understand that. If we get more and more educated, and those who can, no, we don't wait for government to do so. You don't wait for government to do it. Educate your own. Sweep the front of your house, and that's just it. Nigeria will definitely go forward. We're already going forward. You must understand that. The fact that we're discussing this now, I mean, I'm so impressed. I mean, the man has been a journalist for how many years? He's now working in government. So first of all, he has his own way of thinking that he brings into government. And then he can give you facts. If he wasn't educated, he wouldn't sit down here. He would probably be somewhere just say, look, Mr. Governor, you're the greatest man that has ever lived. That's the only way we can destroy psychopathy. Education.
Okay, your own point in terms of way forward for our democracy. I remember just the last couple of days I've traveled to different parts of the country within the last 1 week, and one of the things that was said to be affecting our democracy is sycophancy, which Oscar just mentioned. How will that impact on the future of our democracy?
You were making allusion earlier on. You were making a comparison between parents and the president, the father and the president, who is supposed to be the father of the nation. I think nothing could be more dangerous than giving a leader, political or otherwise, the impression that he is somehow a demigod.
But the father is not a demigod.
No, a father is not a demigod. But when you call one individual the father of 170 million people, you are ascribing to him superhuman powers, which it doesn't have, and that's the reality. So we must stop this hero worshipping that we do of our leaders. Okay, and I'm talking to all sides of the political divide here, my side, the other side. Okay, we in terms of how it affects us, I have seen firsthand how terrible that can be. Okay, here in Lagos.
What would you rather have us call him? Sorry, I just wanted to know.
What
You'd
would you-
rather have us call the president, of
The
course,
president.
not a parent.
End of.
Mr. President.
Mr. President.
But
End of.
the likes of Awolowo has been likened to someone who sees
Awolowo
every...
would never. I knew Awolowo personally.
Yes.
I was the last individual, along with my grandfather, that is a non-Awolowo, to see Awolowo alive. Okay, my grandfather went there to break his fast on a Friday night, and Awolowo died the following Saturday. Awolowo would never allow himself to be deified.
No, not there's a difference between
there is no
creating a
difference,
deity.
actually.
No,
There
there
is
is.
no
My
difference.
father,
There-
I
there's
don't
a sense
deify
in which
my
people
father.
deify
Fatherism,
leaders
permit
in
me
Nigeria.
to use fatherism in terms of your commitment to the people you lead,
Like
not
Mr. Oscar said,
the people you
president
lead, the
doesn't know you.
responsibility.
Okay,
he doesn't know you personally. He doesn't know what your
Unfortunately,
pains
this is
are,
not
what your
gonna
hopes
go
are, what your
far.
aspirations are.
This is not going to
What
go
he is to
far.
do when it gets
Yes.
there
I'm
is do his
heartbroken.
job.
I'm heartbroken.
Do your
Okay.
job. That's all.
All right,
Okay.
that's fine. That will be your
All right.
submission. Your
You have a
submission, final
mindset.
word. Sorry, your final word, please.
My final word, there's a need for a lot of Nigerians to dig deep and understand the Boko Haram crisis. And there's a need for enhanced cooperation between the federal government and the states, where this crisis, is happening.
The states with the emergency.
Yeah, with the not only emergency, Benue and the rest. Let's reduce this issue of politics. You talk about the minister saying that the whole of the government funds go to APCs. This issue, APC, PDP, let's get out of it. Let's focus on the country.
Okay, on that note, we have to say thank you very much for your contribution to the conversation on the 15 years of uninterrupted democracy in Nigeria. And we'll start by saying thank you to Oscar Ondue, social commentator. Thank you very much for your thoughts and suggestions. And then Babatunde Gbadamosi, public policy analyst. Thank you for coming. And also thanks.
In waiting.
Not in waiting. You have to have primaries first, then the election itself. And of course, Issa Gusau, who's essay to the Borno State Governor. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Well, Sunrise is not going away. We'll take a short break. We know that a number of the issues raised today will continue to rear its head for conversation for the future. So we'll take a short break. When we come back, another conversation will be coming your way. Please don't